It's the Harris Football Podcast with your host, Christopher Harris.
Welcome! Hey, everybody, welcome in. My name is Chris, and this is a show born and bred and of the Pacific Northwest. Hello there from the only state in the United States with different designs on either side of its state flag. That would be Oregon. I am here this morning in Portland, Oregon, once again watching the sun come up in the Pacific Northwest and making a very stupid show from a hotel room for you today. It is my pleasure and honor to get to speak with you about this incredibly stupid topic that is nevertheless very important. I am certainly riding high after last night. Portland, holy crow, what a turnout. The reading at the Rainbow Road pub of the gorgeous beer company was spectacular. I have to say so much thanks to the owner of the bar, Travis, a Longhorn. Thank you, Travis. Special shout out to James Brown. Yeah, he's heard that joke a few times. Without James, it just would not have happened. What a turnout. Not that we're keeping score, and Tacoma was awesome. Portland was bigger. Let me read you some snark from Nick, who wrote me late last night after the meetup. Hey Harris, tonight I survived ignoring a few calls from my wife, and I'm fairly certain she's not the serial killer in Pound Foolish. No spoilers either way. I'll give it a read and find out on my own. When I got home, I told her we'd had a great turnout and a really fun time. She asked, "With Mark Hammond?" I raised an eyebrow. "Mark Hamill," she corrected. I laughed. No. But it was a Mark, right? No, it was a Chris. She stared at me, completely lost. "Chris Harris?" I added. "Oh," she said. "The Chris Harris Football Podcast." I just laughed. Yup. And then the mail continues from Nick. "Thanks for helping put Portland on the map and helping my wife realize there are various ways to be a nerd." It was great getting the chance to meet you and spend some time with fellow yacht possums. I'll try and make my way into the Discord. It's a great community. Shout out to Blake, Ethan, Aaron, Justin, David, Keith, Todd, Dan, Dalton, Cole, the fellow Dolphins fan whose name I didn't catch. I'm glad to know I'm not the only person who chooses pain and sadness as an annual pastime. Thanks again for a great night. P.S. Looks like we trounced Tacoma. Final score 42-25. What do you got, Vegas and Phoenix? A lovely email. I think it was about 40. We estimated between 40 and 42 people. Like, people kept coming late. It was great. I will post pictures. I read a couple of pieces from my new book, Pound Foolish, took some questions about the book and writing and about the NFL and this show, signed a bunch of books, which was great, and then we hung out and chatted and took photos. So I'm with Nick. What do you got? Vegas tonight, Tuesday night, 7 p.m., the Fandom Bar in the Arts District. Vegas is a pretty big place. A lot of people live there. Surely there are some possums. I know there's at least a few. We'll see. Like, big or small, the meetups are so fun. I can't tell you how many people have come up to me and said, "Wow, this is way different than I expected. This was so much more communal and fun. I was worried I wouldn't have anybody to talk to." That's what I can promise, both for Vegas on Tuesday and Phoenix on Wednesday. I am positive that you'll make some friends and have some fun. Come alone. You will be welcomed, not just by me, but by everyone. What an incredible group of people we have listening to this show. I am truly so lucky to have all of you. And I should say it's not too late. If you want to help the cause of cumulative press, see how well I said it right there? If you've heard me mention the book a whole bunch and you keep forgetting, harrisfootball.com, where you can find out all about it. Do it right now. Make a mental note. You can pre-order Pound Foolish. And I really wanted to say that if you're having a hard time justifying the expense, budgets are tight, I have a bunch of copies that your fellow listeners have sponsored and donated. Please email me. Don't feel weird about it. Sometimes you're saving up for something, or you're between jobs and you don't have as much discretionary spending. If that's the case and you'd like to read the book, write me. Please do it. heyharris@harrisfootball.com. Okay. As of early on a Tuesday morning in the Pacific time zone, we don't really have any more clarity on Ashton Jeanty, but I felt like we, smack dab in the middle of draft season, I got to make a change in the ranks, and barring any actual information, I have to admit there's just more risk. I don't even think it's really arguable given, where I'm sitting this moment in time, given the ankle that Jeanty sprained on Sunday, and for sure, it looked like a severe injury. It didn't look like your run-of-the-mill low ankle sprain. I don't really believe that he's absolutely fine and will proceed week 1 as though nothing had happened. So I don't think it's really arguable that Jeanty can be a first-round pick. And with the right update, sure, I could change my mind. But if they're just going to stay quiet about it, I can't take him in the first round, I don't think. He's lower in my ranks on the website. He's 20 standard overall. He's 21 PPR. Still mid to late second round. You're obviously playing the roulette wheel a little bit if they're not going to tell us anything between now and week 1. If it turns out that, listen, they were just playing it close to the chest and he's fine, rock on, you got a great deal. If it's a high ankle sprain, you could not get a good deal at all. You certainly would have to have a taste for risk to take that on. Other news from Monday, Kayshon Boutte gets traded to the Texans from the Footy Pajama Patriots. I know that Patriot fans way romanticize Boutte beyond what he's actually done for them. He caught 33 balls last year. Let's calm down. He's a fringe wide receiver 3 for NFL purposes, but it's understandable why the Texans would want him. It's very late in the preseason to be assimilated, and he's going to be in a race to be comfortable. This is a depth move probably for Houston, who of course lost Jaden Higgins to a torn ACL. And Boutte, trust me, is well known to be an absolute pro and a really good locker room guy and would be a good addition to any NFL team. But deep threats who aren't big and are only kind of medium fast, Boutte just isn't really that much of a route runner. I don't think it's impossible that he fights his way past the Xavier Hutchinsons and Jalen Knowles and rehabbing Tank Dells, but I'm pretty skeptical at this moment that it winds up being relevant for fantasy, and Knoll is still the second Texans receiver who I'd be most likely to take a very late round chance on. What's left behind in New England, I guess we're going to do this with Pop Douglas again. He's mostly going to be the third guy in 3 wide and play out of the slot, but Douglas is a banana in the tailpipe I will not be indulging in again. Everybody said he had a great camp. Where have I heard that before? Oh, right, every single season of his career. To me, it reinforces something I definitely ranked and feel, which is that double-digit rounds, I will take a shot on Romeo Doubs. I don't think Kayshon Boutte was ever really a reason not to take the shot on Romeo Doubs, but it, to me, emphasizes even more that there actually is potential for an interesting role for Doubs, a player who is, I would call him like a significantly better version of Kayshon Boutte. I don't think A.J. Brown is the analog. I think Kayshon Boutte is the analog to Romeo Doubs. Can be a contested catch deep guy, not a true burner, but pretty fast. But Doubs really runs good intermediate routes and is tough on short catches after the catch, running in the open field. Probably the answer winds up being nobody other than A.J. Brown will be usable week in, week out. But if the Pats are a wagon, I think Doubs is the best number 2 receiver they've had in a good long while. Also on Monday, the Cardinals cut Trey Benson, and suddenly that 4-man, too many guys, that depth chart's a mess. That Arizona backfield looks much simpler. Benson had a meniscus tear in his knee last year and only had 29 carries all last season. And then reportedly his knee started to balloon up again in training camp, and the Cardinals just decided they're done. Hard to believe that Benson is immediately landing somewhere else to become a contributor this year. Come back with me, won't you, to the spring of 2024 when people were just telling us you don't understand the size-speed combo. Everything they say about Omarion Hampton, everything they say about Bashul Tutin, guys that we're really not that sure are good, but are really good athletes, big and fast. I guess the best ball bros loved Trey Benson in 2024, but in the end, it did never work out. Hopefully he can get his knee right and make a try with another new team for sure. That fact, combined with James Conner, the Squirminator, hasn't done anything in Cardinals practices, I don't believe, at least not in 11-on-11s. And then Jeremiah Love having his high ankle sprain kind of cleared that backfield right up. Week 1, maybe it's a lot of Tyler Algier. There has been some speculation that Conner, he's a veteran, he's sandbagging, he's getting ready, which is possible. We've seen that before for sure. So in week 1, we could get a surprise, and we probably won't know that beforehand unless the Cardinals get rid of him or put him on IR or something. There's also the uncertainty we spent a lot of time talking about on Monday's show regarding Jeremiah Love. And I am not taking him late second round. I guess it's still a mess in the Arizona backfield, but just for very different reasons than we thought a month or so ago. Lastly, Deshaun Watson was named the Browns' starting quarterback. Simply, you've heard me say it, I think, probably if you've been listening. Certainly in July I said this, an indefensible decision. There just don't seem to be any adults in the room to step in and say, do not do this, Browns. I mean, Browns fans have made their feelings known by booing Watson, and Watson has remained as head wound moronic and tone deaf as ever when he was asked about this booing. And I mean, set aside what an obvious creep Deshaun Watson is, and that's a hard thing to do because he is an obvious creep. He hasn't played well. Nobody thinks he's good. I guess maybe Todd Monken does. There's basically no way that this works. I honestly can't sit. I'm not changing my ranks of Quinshon Judkins or Casey Concepcion or Denzel Boston. I don't know that Shedeur Sanders would be any better. But it also is just kind of soul-crushing. Like, you just can't put yourself in a position where Deshaun Watson plays well. Like, your absolute best case is that Watson is good and you win a bunch of games, and now you're in a position where you're tempted to re-sign the biggest boondoggle contract in NFL history. How he has not been fired into the sun. How you wouldn't look at 2 bad quarterback options, or 3 if you count Dylan Gabriel, and say, hey, you know what? Let's play one of the ones who hasn't been an albatross around our necks and who doesn't represent the utter failure of our organization over the past half decade. Just a crazy choice by the Browns. But I guess that's why they're the Browns.
Today's kickoff. Okay,
on today's show, it's not Eric Jefferson. Stop saying it's Eric Jefferson, because it's not. It's Jeff Erickson. Jeff will be my guest. A rare time we're podcasting together where we're not speaking to each other, both from the City of Angels. And Jeff and I are going to count down some safe players for 2026. We'll talk about what we mean by safe players and give you more names to think about as you get ready for your fantasy football draft. I think you'll have fun, and I thank you again so much for listening today. We are sponsored again by Viore. Did I wear a Viore t-shirt to the Portland reading last night? You better believe I did. The Ponto Performance Tee. How many of those do I own? Hey, no need to get personal. A lot, okay? Viore is my favorite clothing. You almost never will catch me not wearing something from Viore. These clothes are made to reflect the California coastal lifestyle. They're awesome to work out in. They're awesome just to lounge in. Get yourself one pair of their joggers and tell me they're not the greatest thing ever. Viore fits great, feels great. The clothes are made with recycled material. The company is environmentally conscious, and I simply cannot get enough of their clothes. There are pictures of me at the reading. I will post them. Check out that Ponto tee. It's the best. Sky blue. Looks lovely. If you go to VUORI.com/Harris, you'll get 20% off your first order. These clothes are for men and women. Check them out. Get 20% off VUORI.com/Harris.
Today's guest.
His name's Jeff Erickson. It's not Eric Jefferson. He tries and he tries to give you advice.
I know you know the song. I know it's the song that you like the most of any walk-up song. You can stop emailing me and tweeting me and whatever, skeeting me and telling me that you love that song, and you can stop asking me what it's based on. It's not based on anything. It's an original by Grandma Band. I love it. I love it too. You can just stop asking me. It is Jeff Erickson, not Eric Jefferson. You can find him all over social media. Just look up Jeff Erickson. You can get 35% off if you'd like to check out rotowire.com if you use the code Jeff35, which is so personal. It's lovely to have him aboard, even though odd not to be talking to him from the same city. Hello, Jeff.
Christopher, welcome. Portland, we're sorry. I am very excited to be talking with you. I couldn't wait to make a replacements joke there, so I held on to it until we started.
You did indeed. And Portland treated me very, very well. There's no apologies on any sides. That was a pretty crazy event last night. It wasn't crazy in that it was, people were like wild or drunk or anything. It's just so nice and so many people. It was really, really great. And of course, I was telling you before we started, a week from today in Los Angeles is the official book launch, September 1st, 7 p.m. Frogtown Brewery. If you're in LA, please come. How have I not met you? If you're listening to the show in LA, how have I not met you? But you should come and we should meet. And then hopefully Jeff will be there too if he can make it work with his schedule. So we are here to talk about safe players for 2026. You received an email from me describing this topic, and you didn't write back. So I assumed this is all good. Jeff knows exactly what to do. And then right before I hit the button, you said, we'll talk about this topic. What did you want to talk about?
Well, I struggled with the assignment a little bit because what is safety? I mean, the thing is, I think there's a trap. Start thinking safety and you think, okay, there's no upside. That's not true. That's not what we're talking about here. But your players, you still want to draft. But it is like, oh yeah, I know what I'm going to get with this guy. I feel good about this guy. So I kind of got it a little bit better. I was trying to avoid outside of my top 24, but I didn't with one player. We can talk about him first. We'll get him out of the way. But because let's face it, a first 2-round player, that's not going to help too many people. But I did want to talk about one player, and I haven't spent much time talking about him this draft season. So, like you said, it's an excuse to talk about players. This is a player I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, in the end, the lists are all really excuses to just talk about players and get people on the same page of what we think about them. I kind of did this where I almost went like round by round. I have a person from each of the first 5 rounds. And the way I think, you said it great, these are definitely not players we want to avoid. I also think you were kind of leaning toward something that I think is very correct in that, I sit here and rail about the people who decide that they know how the season's going to go and they know which teams are good and which offenses are good and which are bad. And believe me when I tell you, in 3 weeks, people are going to have different opinions when we actually see them play. Like, we're going to be wrong about so many things. And so therefore, me sitting here and going, okay, but hold your horses. I definitely know which players are safe. That's also kind of BS,
Yeah.
The things we think are safe because of their situation or because of, their talent or whatever often wind up not being safe. But there is a different quality to the players that I picked out here, and I'm sure the ones that you picked out too. And I kind of like this topic because it kind of brings you toward that sense of roster building that sometimes I want to balance out the crazy high upside guy who I understand. Jeremiah Love, like, I'm not taking him where he's going. He's a bust for me. But if someone's kind of just like, listen, I love the high upside guys. I can't believe I get him in the late second round. Last year, Ashton Genty was the 5 pick. I'm thrilled to take him at the end of the second. Cool. If you're going to build a roster that way, you might want to try to balance it out with a couple of players who feel like their floors are a little safer to kind of like just, give yourself roster construction that feels more comfortable. All of which is just a way to say it is an excuse to just talk about players. And therefore, of course, it's a pointless countdown, but it matters so much. Who is your number 5 safe player for 2026?
Number 5 safe player is going to be the earliest one on my list. It's Derrick Henry. I feel good. I know what I'm going to get out of Derrick Henry. I don't think we need to talk too much about his virtues. Maybe you want to talk about the things that are a little scary. It's his age. It's that you got a brand new center that we don't know if they're going to be any good. We know that Declan Doyle comes from a great running offense tree under Ben Johnson, but he hasn't called plays himself, so we don't know that. But come on, it's Derrick Henry. He's awesome. He's good at football. He's going to get volume. He's going to get goal line carries. Yeah, I like Derrick Henry. I know what I'm getting with him, you get him in the second round in almost every draft. I even got him in the third round one time. You've got that one part you have.
Yeah, I guess if someone was going to object to the notion of Henry being safe, they would say he turns 33 in January, and he's out of guaranteed money after this season, and this could be the end. It's just that they haven't behaved that way. The Ravens just simply do not appear to be planning for this to be the end at all. They let Keaton Mitchell walk.
Yes.
The recent history of age 32 rushers is bad. It is really, really bad. The past decade, only 2 of them have even run for 1,000 yards. It was Adrian Peterson and Frank Gore. None of them topped 7 touchdowns. The only reason I wouldn't consider them for the list is the actuarial table. But the moment you start doing that, people rightly say, yeah, but this is not someone you can just put in a data set. He's a different kind of dude. And there was a moment that last year with Tennessee where it looked like maybe he lost a step. It looked like maybe, they were taking him out on third downs a lot, and that's continued. He used to play more third downs. But obviously the Baltimore years have just laid that to waste. So even though maybe he wouldn't make my safest players list because of that one piece of risk, I completely understand why you're putting him there.
Very good. Yeah. And I think he's just, and even the age argument you can counter. Well, just look at last year. Did he show signs of decline? No, he did not.
Yeah. Well, the cliff does come fast. I just think the idea there's no risk of decline, that's silly, but I don't think the Ravens are planning on it.
Right.
That is
and
for
you
sure.
You can find something negative to say about every single player, and we will. That's what we do. But so the concept of safety, even then, is a little bit of a lie. There's not one bulletproof player in this list.
You're absolutely right. I mean, even if we could predict how the season was going to go, which my contention is that we absolutely cannot. It's what I said before. The idea that we can just isolate and go, oh, but don't worry, that guy, I know for sure he's safe. No, there is no such thing. Obviously, you're right, as a safe player. So I'm going round by round. I'll start with the first round. And at the 9 pick or so, the 8 pick, even the 7 pick, Saquon Barkley feels awesome to me. Of course, there's risk. He was the 1 pick last year, or at least for me he was, and he didn't get hurt, but it was a disastrous fall apart for the Super Bowl defending champion offense, and Barkley himself was wildly frustrated. Everybody in that offense was wildly frustrated, and there's certainly risk in that. What if it just doesn't ever recover? I just don't find the argument that Barkley himself was degraded in some way really compelling after having watched a lot of his tape, trying to see what went wrong last year. And he's the 1 pick from last year. He doesn't deserve to be the 1 pick this year because of what happened. And we learned that if certain Jenga pieces get taken away from the Philly offense, it can look bad in a way that I didn't think was really possible. Most of those Jenga pieces were on the offensive line, but also the quarterback needed to play better. So I'm not going to say there's no risk, but myself, when I've gotten that 8 hole, I'd say right about 8 is perfect sweet spot for me. When I'm 8 and Barkley falls to me there, I go, I just feel so much better than worrying about everybody else I could take there. Usually the 3 receivers that I would want are gone. Usually the other running backs I would want. And it's cool. Do I really want to, pre-injury Ashton Genty, DeVonta Etienne? Those guys give me the stress farts in a way that Barkley does not.
Stress parts. That's awesome. Awesome turn of phrase. Yeah, I get it. I get it with Barkley, and I might be talking about a teammate of his momentarily, but I think that there's you just know that the offensive line was unusually unhealthy last year. It was such a chaotic season. I think there's the risk here is that the new offensive coordinator, Sean Mannion, is no better than the old offensive coordinator, and they go through this revolving door cycle of offensive coordinators again. And maybe the fact that the offensive line coach is gone, that's the scary part. But yeah, I think he's probably got another very nice, solid season in him.
Yeah. I mean, as far as fears go, oh boy, I really worried this world historically great running back can survive this offensive coordinator I don't know that much about is pretty small relative to. I hope Ashton Genty's foot is still attached. I hope Jeremiah Love knows how to stand right now. We are talking relative here. How about your number 4 safe player?
We're gonna stick with the Eagles. He was the flavor of the month for about 12 days, but that's no. Now there's others that have surpassed him. I'm going to stay with DeVonta Smith. I know that he's really going to be. He's a really good player. He's going to be a guy that gets a lot of targets this year. Maybe he's not a big red zone guy. That's the one thing that I would say is my only negative thing about DeVonta Smith. But I'm getting him as a solid wide receiver 2 on my teams, and I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, he's a flag player on the show this year, one of the 10, I'm planting the flag on. When I say planting a flag, are you like, oh yeah, that's something you did a long time ago and now everybody does? Or is that just, you think I'm just copying everybody?
No, I think people have different turns of phrase. I think, you've also been doing this longer than most people, so you probably did it first.
I don't get to claim it. Like,
you and Scott Pianowski create every phrase I steal. In
the ash heap of history, it will not be remembered that at ESPN, I long ago, there was a very specific reason. Let me put it this way. There used to be an article at ESPN.com that was about 100 players that might be good or might be bad. You all can try to remember back and think what that article might have been. My flag planted players column was maybe a little bit in response to that article about how it's kind of easy to say that you're really into 50 players because then eventually you can always find someone you like that you can point to and say, I rocked, I did great. So I tried to have picks of integrity and we did flags, and that is a bit in vogue. DeVonta Smith, even the idea that he's not a good red zone player is just, I think he's probably a fine red zone player. He happens to play on a team that has Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley at the goal line, and that doesn't lead to a lot of short touchdowns for anybody. But I don't think he's constitutionally incapable of catching those passes.
Right, exactly. It might be a quarterback that's constitutionally incapable of throwing those passes, but I don't think that's even the case either. I think he's going to be fine. And I think he's going to be more than fine. I think he's going to be very good. I love having him this year.
I'm on the road this week. It's much harder to eat healthy out here. I miss my Hungry Root. It's grocery delivery, but the groceries are all healthy. Over 200 additives are screened out, like high fructose corn syrup, artificial sweeteners, preservatives, and more. No hormones or antibiotics in the meat or seafood. Great stuff. And the experience of Hungry Root is so easy. Go shopping and also pick from among many, many, many recipes. Very non-elaborate, easy to make recipes. And I have noticed that Hungry Root has learned more and more about me, and I love the recommendations that result. I honestly can't wait to get back to Hungry Root. I recommend it to all my friends. It's such a busy time of year for me. This keeps me eating healthy. When I pick out a meal, it's like 15 minutes to make it. I think you will love Hungry Root as much as I do. For a limited time, get 40% off your first order plus a free item in every box. Go to hungryroot.com/Harris and use the code Harris. That's hungryroot.com/Harris, code Harris, to get 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life. hungryroot.com/Harris. Use that code Harris. Okay, we are back with Jeff, and we are counting down safe players for 2026. We're at my number 4, and I'm going round by round here. And so for the second round, I picked, another Eagles connection and DeVonta Smith's former teammate, running mate. I put A.J. Brown here. I think something around 20 overall, like mid to veering toward slightly late second round. I don't, he's not coming in any kind of great discount. That's about where he goes. But I'm kind of trying to capture, having done a lot of drafts by now, I'm kind of trying to capture the feeling of, if I take the guy, do I give a little sigh of relief like that felt okay, or do I go, oh man, I have indigestion now that I tried this, and we'll see how it goes. That everybody knows that feeling of trepidation, of being like, well, I'm trying to get away with something here, and that's not what I feel when I take AJ Brown. Does he have risk? I think it's the knee. I think that his knee that needed constant maintenance with the Eagles, that is certainly a potential problem, and maybe he's lost a step as a result. I don't know that I necessarily saw that. It wasn't a very creative Philadelphia offense last year. The Patriots will know what to do with him more, I think. And it's funny how going into camp, especially, I'm so buried in the Patriots ecosystem, and I, know people around the team and whatever. Like, there was a lot of noise about, oh, what a bad move. I can't believe you traded a future first rounder for him. And, he might be washed. And then he got into camp and everyone shut up. He was awesome in camp. He was apparently like, they can't believe what they have. They're so excited. So I understand what could go wrong, and it's not like I'm lobbying for him to be the 13 pick or something, but right around 20, it has felt really good to get him.
I wish I lived in leagues where he was around 20. That's my only objection to this at all. I've seen him go as high as 8.
Holy moly.
Maybe, and there's a lot of excitement about Brown and May hooking up here. This offense will have some really nice. Drake May can make any throw. I mean, that's one of the things we're excited about there. I'm his enthusiasm for being on the team was noted. If you can get him at 20, click away. Absolutely, 100%. I've seen him go ahead of Lamb and Jefferson though.
I mean, I wouldn't do that. I would take both Lamb and Jefferson over him. I don't think it's like outrageous, but I'm looking right now at the Fantasy Pros Live ADP, and it's 20.
Yeah.
So,
that's a reminder that not everybody drafts in the NFFC, and not everybody, you got to get outside of your bubble every once in a while. I mean, that not just for your own draft purposes, but also for your advice. It's good to know what everybody else is doing too.
Yeah, NFFC is not. I mean, I'm surprised to hear that AJ Brown is a riser in NFFC, because like Jeremiah Love is still probably going 10 in NFFC. Like, they tend to that's the wild swing league. And so it's funny because I think AJ Brown is kind of safe, and I kind of agree that if you're going to elevate him, I would rather elevate AJ Brown than Jeremiah Love. I can tell you that. But I personally think of NFFC as being the hipster, you think you can take him early? I'm going to take him early. Ashton Genty is the 2 pick, like last year. Do I have that wrong about NFFC?
I think it's the hipster wide receiver league. The 3 receivers and a flex is one of the league structure is part of it there. I've found the cost of doing business with wide receivers is higher there than elsewhere.
Well, I mean, but in this case, you're telling me like it's not a matter of every receiver going higher. It's that they're shuffling AJ Brown ahead of. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't think that's going to be reflected in most of the listener leagues who are people who are listening right now. Who is your number 3 safe player you wanted to talk about?
Okay, you might not agree with me on this one here. This is the one where I expect to get the Harris lecture from. Dave Kluge and I were talking about this, like, oh God, I better study before I do my Harris podcast. I'm going to go DeAndre Swift here. I get him at the end of the 5th round, beginning of the 6th, almost all the time. If I've gone with a receiver heavy build, he's there for me. I don't think I think rumors of his demise, of his terribleness, were overstated. I also think he's just a better fit in this Bears offense in particular. He's going to get around 1,000 yards. He's going to get catches. I think he's a more efficient back last year. They didn't bring anybody else in. I worry a little bit about whether the center switch is going to work out. At least Drew Dahlman retired before the draft, as opposed to the year before when Frank Ragnow retired in the Lions in June. I think they had enough. They were able to do enough to kind of make sure that the interior offensive line is still going to be okay. I think it's a good offense. I think he's going to have a heavy role on it.
I got no problem with this. I got no problem with you calling Swift safe. Personally, I mean, who cares if I did have a problem? You're allowed to have your opinion.
I want to please the teacher here. I want to make sure the teacher's happy with me.
Not at all. I mean, I'm pleased to have, even if I disagree, I'm pleased to have the audience here. I wouldn't bring you on. Believe me, there are people I don't bring on. They're I bring you on because I want people to hear your opinion. I think also something that you didn't fall back on as an argument, but clearly can be argued, is Kyle Monangai got hurt. I doubt he's ready. Like, he's a hyperextended knee. Yeah. I doubt he's ready to start the season. There's a little extra built in, you might say, runway for Swift to continue, to own that, get a hot hand and own just a little bit more of. Nobody thinks it winds up being all his job the entire year. We're well beyond that with DeAndre Swift, but that's why you're getting him in the 5th round. I will ask the question of you in a moment. I'll actually ask it. I'll ask it rhetorically first. Does Swift have any built-in upside to be any kind of league-winning player the way his boosters have been trying to tell us for 5 years or whatever? My argument would probably be no, and maybe that makes him, you're comparing him to Cam Scattaboo, and you go, yeah, one of those guys probably is going to make it through the season, and the other one I have real doubts, but also the one who might not make it through the season could score 15 touchdowns and out of nowhere win me a league, and I think you would agree that might not be Swift.
I agree. Ironically, I have Swift and Scattaboo back to back in my rankings.
Me too. Me too. Yeah.
So there you have it. But
that's
and I think that's the thing is, like, when I'm drafting RB2, what type of player am I looking for? Or if it's RB3, if it's RB3, I might click on Scattaboo first. If it's RB2, I'm going to probably do Swift first.
And I don't think that has to be a hard and fast rule for people listening, but it's very interesting to hear that insight into your thought process. It might just be which RB1 you got. If it's Jonathan Taylor and you're like, I like Jonathan Taylor, but every other year he gets hurt, and I feel like I'm shooting the moon a little bit, maybe I'm more apt to take Swift. If it's Bijan Robinson, and I'm like, that's pretty locked in, isn't it? Maybe it's not, but like I feel like the only thing that's going to really derail him, I don't know what. I mean, he hasn't really gotten hurt, so maybe I'm more likely to say I'll go Scattaboo. I'll shoot the moon. I'll try to, those are the kinds of calculations, especially as you're starting to nominate like slightly lower players in the ranks. You actually can think about as you're drafting.
Exactly. And you should be thinking in that as a whole. I think sometimes we get so locked in, like on various other things. Sometimes during our drafts, if you do a lot of drafts, you don't even think about the team context as much. And then you look up and you see, oh, how did I put this all together? Whereas if it's, I think you need to treat every league like it's your most important league, as if it's your home league. And I stay off your phone, just stay locked in and your team build.
I think most of the people listening do. I think you're thinking of us.
I might be. That might be self-referential. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we do so many drafts, and we have to do so many. I have 3 slow drafts going on as we speak. But I hear what you're saying. I think. What was I going to say in relation to the habits of people? Oh, one thing, just kind of almost apropos of nothing, but we're talking about roster construction. It just occurs to me because I did an AMA, as I'm sure you have, on the fantasy football subreddit last week or the week before. I can't remember. I guess it was last week. And so many questions, and I don't think that many of them were from listeners to the show, but there's 200 questions in there within a half an hour. And so many of them are, okay, so I'm going to go running back in the first round. Should I go wide receiver in the second and third? Or should I go running back, wide receiver, tight end in the fourth? And, of course, everybody knows who listens to the show what my response is always going to be. It's some variation on my bumper sticker of draft players, not positions. And you should go in with a draft board, and you should do your best to stick to it. Only when you get further down, round 4, round 5, that's where you go, okay, let me see what I've wrought by taking the best available. And now fine, we can start elevating guys at positions and trying to build a full roster. And the reason I bring it up is because part of that is also not just positions, but like risk profile. And as you say, like if you look at if you behold what you've done after 4 rounds and you go, oh, I have truly built a risk monster here. I'm in trouble. I need to smooth it out. That's good information to have.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I couldn't be more in lockstep with you on the lack of preordained positions early. I really think that you're doing yourself a disservice if you're not willing to be able to zig a little bit there when the draft, especially when the draft provides you, when you have those people that take Jeremiah Love in the first round or, something of that nature, when they present that opportunity to you for that player that falls, be ready to pluck it.
Yeah. And I get a lot of emails like, hey, you never talk about the first round. Can you talk about what to do in the first round? And my answer is for me, myself, I follow my own ranks. Like I don't mess around. I don't try to game it. I take the best player that I think that I could take, and I don't worry about the position. And I know I can make it work. And the draft is 50% anyway of your team throughout the year because you're going to make trades and you're going to do waivers and you have a lot of control to fix things. So yeah, I don't, that subject I don't even have that much to say on. All right, my number 3 of the relatively safe players, I put Travis Etienne on the list.
I looked at him.
End of the 3rd round. And it's another one where he, let's just pretend that 2024 never happened and this guy's had a great career. And maybe we'll wind up chalking up 2 years ago to injury because he was very, very good. I thought that he was the Jags' best offensive player last year. Side note that I think the Jags lost their best offensive player and their best defensive player from last year. I'm sure nothing bad can happen about the fact that Travis Etienne and Devin Lloyd play other places now. And so he's good. And I trust Kellen Moore to know what to do with him. And Alvin Kamara is also hurt. So if I'm going to make the DeAndre Swift safety a little extra runway kind of injury, I think Etienne has that extra runway as well. So it has been a comfort to be getting him like late 3rd, early 4th.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that, Alvin Kamara is hurt, like you alluded to. Devin Neal is next in line. There's not really any threat. Everybody expects better things out of the Saints going into this year. We'll see about that. But I was at least moderately impressed with Tyler Shuck, that he's not going to sink the ship. So, yeah, I think Etienne's going to be someone that I will be rostering as well multiple times.
How about your number 2?
All right. This is another one of those hear me out, Harris sort of situations there. I'm going Harold Fannin. I like Harold Fannon's skill set. The fact that he was able to produce what he did with 3 different terrible quarterbacks last year makes me not that scared of the chaos that happened this week here with Deshaun Watson being named the starter to start the year. I think we'll see 3 different quarterbacks this year for the Cleveland Browns, probably 4. Maybe, who knows? I just think Harold Fannon's very good at football. I think they will continue to find ways to get him the ball. Even though I like Casey Concepcion, I like Denzel Boston, I'm not really scared about the volume because I think Fannin still is that glue guy that gets it's going to get red zone looks. He's going to get creative ways to keep finding him the ball because they found him the ball before last year. New offense still doesn't scare me. New coordinator still doesn't scare me. I think Fannin's just very good. You get him. You don't have to pay a premium tight end price to get him, and yet you're getting someone who I think is really good at football.
I think he belongs in the same group as Laporta, Warren, Loveland.
Yes.
And therefore, I'm still probably not taking him because usually I wait. But sometimes if I'm in a draft where, again, like I'm just paying attention to my own board. And if I get to the point where that group is starting to go and that they're my best available, I'll do it. I don't have to wait. Like I'll take at the right price. I'll take the right player. I'll take the player. I've gotten Laporta of that group. I've gotten Laporta the most. He feels like of that 4, people are the most afraid of him. And I get it because, so like if you were going to compare Laporta's safety to Fannin's safety, I think you'd say Fannin feels safer because Laporta missed the second half of last year with injury and then, has a hip thing or whatever. And we won't really know until we know. So I kind of agree. Of that group, Laporta, Warren, Loveland, Fannin, I don't know if I don't know my own answer to this question. Do you find Fannin to have the lowest ceiling of those 4 guys?
I do, but I also find it significantly lower price. And I think that's like I think Loveland's got easily the highest ceiling of those guys. Um,
I
but
think
a
Laporta
lot
does, to be honest.
that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Um, and I might be playing the recency bias game, and that's dangerous. But uh, I see, and I elevate Loveland in my rankings above those guys. I found though that like sometimes you can get Fannin as the tight end 10, even though, and I think he belongs to be like tight end 6. And I like that combination of ability and price. So that's where I wanted to dig a little later on a couple of my safer guys, and that this is one of the reasons I wanted to highlight him too. But yeah, I looked at Laporta on this list. I think if he had not gotten the little hip thing in practice, I might have said Laporta instead. So because of an existing injury, I always worry about that because injuries do find us. Playing injury optimism is a dangerous game.
We are sponsored again this season by DraftKings. Football is back, and something big is coming. On September 2nd, DraftKings Game Day arrives. There's going to be all sorts of great promotions to get the season rolling on September 2nd. And I should also mention, DraftKings now does offer games in all 50 states. You can't still quite play everything in every state, but no matter where you live, DraftKings will have a game for you. One app, every sport, all 50 states in the U.S. New DraftKings customers sign up with code Harris, then spend $5 to get $200 in rewards within 21 days. Get that DraftKings app, sign up using the code Harris in partnership with DraftKings. I think we're doing the DFS contest again this year, so get ready for that too. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-MY-RESET. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org on behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas. Bet tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 and over. Void in Canada. Bet with DraftKings Sportsbook to get bonus bets that expire in 7 days or trade with DraftKings Predictions to get predictions dollars that expire in 1 year. Event contract trading involves risk of loss. Predictions offer void in New York. Non-withdrawable rewards issued as $50 click-to-claims every 7 days for 21 days. Terms at dkng.co/offer. Limited time offer. Nationwide based on sportsbook predictions and free-to-play sports contest availability. Varies by state.
We're back with Jeff, and we are talking through our safe players for 2026. We're at my number 2, and I kept going with the round-by-round thing, so I have a 4th rounder for you, Jeff, and I put Lad McConkey on the list. Feels like a little bit of I could just take a deep breath and fresh air with Lad McConkey going like 45 overall as opposed to 25 overall, or I think it was higher than that. I think it was like 18 overall last year or something. I don't think he was ever really that guy. Maybe that'll be wrong. Again, it's so hard to do Charger analysis because it was all fruit of a poisonous tree. It just became an unworkable pass blocking situation, and so hard to even know who to blame. We've said it a million times, so I'm going to yada yada last year's results a little bit with Lad McConkey. I think he's a really, really nice player. I probably don't think he's an alpha. I think he's, if he's the best receiver on your team, are you a great team? I think maybe not. And so therefore he is maybe the best receiver on the team. But I find the floor to be very, very believable. I don't think the floor will be weekly as bad as it was last year because I got to believe they've worked out. It's like when you see how bad you can turn your own situation into with injuries and your own bad moves building a roster, I have to believe that scares you straight and you're not going to go through it again, even if Rashawn Slater isn't healthy or whatever. So I believe in McConkey's weekly floor among the other receivers you can get in the 4th-ish round, and I agree that maybe he doesn't quite have the ceiling of some of those guys, but again, that's not the list, so McConkey's on mine.
My only objection is the offensive line is already creeping up as an issue. Biotic is out for the year. Slater, is limited in practice. Go Cats. But I'm a Northwestern guy, so I'm still rooting for Slater. But I am concerned that we're at this point, and they're still saying he's going to be limited for a while. How does that translate into the games? I mean, I think there was a before and after Joe Alt issue last year, so I think they were living until Alt got hurt last year. And when Alt got hurt, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. I thought that was the big one last year. So we'll see what that means this year. New offensive coordinator, obviously, Mike McDaniel. The absence of Keenan Allen makes me want Ladd more for sure, in terms of just pure targets. I think I agree with pretty much your characterization of his skill set for sure. And I think if you're getting him in the 4th round, especially because in leagues they're pushing up wide receivers, and I've still seen Ladd get there, then I like that.
Yeah, again, I have to believe when they put truth serum in the Charger management, and they would admit they did not properly plan for the eventuality of disaster. It's hard to plan for losing both your tackles, but they threw really rough names at it. So I have to believe they have a plan, and because you can't go through that again. All right, we are at your number 1 safe player.
All right, what's a bad Dak Prescott season look like? If you're playing the weight on the quarterback's game, and I always am, Dak's there for me. He is the money in the banana stand. You're getting 30 touchdowns, you're getting 4,000 yards, and you're getting, are there injured seasons? Sure, everybody has an injured season. I don't think he's especially injury prone. He's not going to be putting himself out there running a ton. I'm not really, I'm not getting running upside, but I don't want running upside necessarily. If I get it, it's fine. But he's always there for me, and he's always the guy I can get if I'm waiting on quarterbacks, allowing me to build strength at other positions.
Yeah, he's my QB 9? Yeah, I'm sorry, I was looking at my own ranks. QB 9. I've gotten him a fair amount, absolutely. The only reason I don't get him is because I get Stafford. I have Stafford ahead of him, but I would characterize Dak as probably being maybe a little safer than Stafford, just because Stafford has a disc in his back that you always worry will turn wrong. The real life player Dak always has something go wrong. Always has the dagger. He seems like a nice man, and I root for him, want good things to happen. We don't really know these players, but it just seems like a blood and guts, good teammate, supportive type player. And it can feel like things are just rolling so well for the Cowboys, and he can look great for 3 quarters, but when you need that throw, there's just always something with the Cowboys and with Dak. It's also incredible that he's 33. Not that that's a reason to doubt him. It's his prime. But it just seems like, wait, isn't he 28? Sure, he must be 28. No, he's been the starting quarterback for 10 years. And
as long as we're not playing in a second round of the playoffs league, I think we're okay with that.
Yeah, you know what you're getting with that. Absolutely. Again, my number 1 just results in being, I just went rounds 1 through 5. And actually, my number 1 goes a little later than round 5, but I looked at the group and I went, I think I need to put a word in for Jaylen Warren, someone I just feel I definitely recognize it's a split backfield, but the listeners hear me say it every single day. Tell me this non-split backfields, I'll wait. There might be 3, there might be 4. They're all split backfields. So what do you think of the player? And we've talked about Jaylen Warren on Film Room Heroes. We talked about him a couple times last week. He's a very good player and probably could handle a bigger workload, but the Steelers have always paired him with a bigger back, and Rico Dowdle is paired with him now, and I understand there are going to be weeks where you're going to be frustrated. Guess what? That's why you get him in the 6th round, and I would take him probably in the 5th. He goes live ADP 64 overall right now. A very safe flex, so I have felt very good when I've built rosters, and Warren is my flex.
I like that. I like that a lot. The Steelers are the safe team. They're nobody's buzzy team. And I get it. Because, hey, 9-8, 10-7, etc. Rodgers back again, all that. And it has a depressed effect for Warren. It has it for DK Metcalf. Same thing. These are guys that no one is excited to get, but they're solid. They're building blocks.
Yeah, I almost want to have a separate conversation with you about Metcalf, because I find Warren pretty safe, and Metcalf and Pittman, I'm looking for reasons not to draft, and it's definitely Rodgers related, but it can work. I mean, it can work. It can work with the occasional downfield shot, and both of those guys can make plays, and then it can work with a million little cowardly 3rd and 8, 6-yard passes. Like it can work. I don't know. Am I wrong in feeling like, especially Metcalf, probably more than Pittman, because Metcalf, we all know, like, has it in him to be a downfield player, and he made plays downfield last year, but like they're just so few and far between. Am I wrong to think that Metcalf kind of embodies the two qualities I don't want, which is, on the one hand, I feel like the ceiling now is a little in question despite the player, and then I think the floor really stinks. Like, I think low ceiling, low floor. That's not a player I want to draft. Do you get Metcalf at all?
I guess I'll take Metcalf pick is what I'm getting him as. I still think there's a ceiling. I just don't know if he realizes it with Rodgers.
Right. Well, that's what I mean. I'm talking about this year. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's still a scenario where Rodgers doesn't finish the season and Metcalf actually is better because of it. It's possible. He still can take that 3-yard slant 60 yards. That's still there. That ability to do that. There's also the sulk on the sideline and wonder why he's not getting more action guy also. That also exists too. So yeah, you're right. And I just think that, it's just a team context dragging the whole thing down with a lot of these players. And I think Warren gets trapped in that too. I think nobody is excited to draft Steelers unless you're a Steelers fan. It's more of the same. It's a different head coach, but it's still, hey, this is the best we can do right now without doing radical changes. They just don't want to do radical changes.
Yeah, I feel way better about Warren. And, Metcalf goes in like the 7th round, so what am I even complaining about? You're not even drafting him to be a starter, but I have not taken him. I have not taken him once. Done a lot of drafts, hasn't wound up on a single team. And it's not like people are aggressive around me. It's not like there's that one person who goes, I got Metcalf. I'm sure everybody who takes him has the same feeling of you. Like, I guess this is the Metcalf round. I'll take him for my bench guy. I haven't done it yet. All right, well, this was fun. An excuse to talk about more players. I was interested in your opinion, and I feel like I learned something. You can find Jeff all over social media. Just look up Jeff Erickson. You can find rotowire.com, where Jeff has been for approximately 73 years. You can get 35% off at rotowire.com if you use the code Jeff35. We did our La Liga Lebowski veteran auction last Thursday aboard the yacht, and it turned into a poker game without you. Oh, I know.
Oh, no. Oh, man. That's good. Sounds awesome. Sounds like so much fun.
It was not nice. I'm sorry about that. We couldn't. You live too far. Like, we couldn't be like, hey, we're finishing an auction. Come on over. Like, it was just, you'd have been like, cool, I'll be there in an hour and a half. But, yeah, we missed you. We love you at that game. So we'll do it again soon. Thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Anytime.
And thank you so much for listening. Let me thank the 3 sponsors that made today's show possible. If you were interested in what I had to say about them, it's wonderful if you use the codes. We had Viore for some clothing that I modeled for some fine Portlanders on Monday night. We had Hungry Root, which I can't wait to get back to, in LA, and also DraftKings, who have the big September 2nd event coming. Again, you can find information about today's sponsors in the show notes, and all the current sponsors are listed at harrisfootball.com. I'm getting to come out and meet everybody here in the meetups. It's overwhelming how many people say, oh yeah, I support the sponsors here and there when I can. It's so nice. You take ownership of the show. It makes the whole thing keep going. I appreciate you very, very much. Let's do a bribery drawing winner for Pound Foolish. It is a random number generator, which I then find the entry. The winner of today's prize, which is, we're calling it like a cameo. I've already done one of these. It was really fun. I'll do it again. It's not on Cameo. I'm obviously not charging for this, but the idea is basically I'll make a video, whatever you want, for your league, for someone in your league, to talk trash before your draft, after your draft, whatever. The winner is Peter Ferguson. Congratulations, Peter of Toronto. And I'm happy to do it. I'll send you an email. We'll work out what you would like to be said, and I can do some improv and not great at it, but we'll figure it out. And so again, if you'd like to be bribed, if you'd like to be entered, pre-order Pound Foolish. You can find the details in today's show notes or at harrisfootball.com. You'll also get pre-entered if you currently just don't have the means to get a book. Let me know. We've people who will get you a book, and then you get entered. So there's really no reason not to do it if you like the show. So hit me up, heyharris@harrisfootball.com. That will do it for this Tuesday episode. Coming up on Wednesday will be the Yacht Club. I will be in Las Vegas, having done a Vegas event this evening at 7 p.m. at the Fandom Bar in the Arts District of Las Vegas. Very hot Las Vegas. It'll be the next morning. It'll be Yacht Club with Andy Behrens. We're going to do Dynasty ups and downs from the spring and the summer. We're going to nominate guys who we feel like their Dynasty fortunes have changed, the long-term outlooks, you might say. So that'll be a good one. And then we'll all meet back here on Thursday for the beginning of the Super Deep Sleepers. To help me with that list will be Jake Seeley from The Athletic. If you're in Vegas or the outlying areas, come on by to this evening. It'll be great. If you're in the Phoenix area on Wednesday, plan on coming by. Again, 7 p.m. also for that one. I know it's weird. All I can tell you is it's fun, and when people come by themselves and they feel apprehensive, they get a handshake, and we take pictures, and it's really nice. Both of the 2 nights now, in Sunday and Monday, people have started leagues with the people who've shown up. Like, it's really nice. You'll have a good time. So if you want to come by, please do show up. Until then, thanks again so much for listening. Your hat is awesome. You're awesome for wearing it. I will talk to you next time.
The Harris Football Podcast's opening theme is Under the Gun by Apex Manor. The closing theme is Say Yes by The Wellspring. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and never miss an episode.